Video, we're able to learn how to get events that is being happening on our screen. In case if we resize our screen, we're able to know the current width and the height, which were what we did in our previous video by making so just these simple commands here. So in this video, what we're basically going to do is to make the environment or the application scrollable. Most time when we keep on running some maybe we want to display a test, and the test can get too long that we need to scroll down our application for us to be able to see all those remaining tests. So how we can do this, we can make use of Tkinter to read it, but we're going to make a some kind of a little bit adjustment on of our application. So we're going to make use of what is called Canvas. Canvas is a class in this of our Tkinter module. We're going to make use of frame. I've seen example of frame, which is this guy here. I've seen example of frame. I'm also going to make use of what is called scrollbar. These three guys are basically what we're going to use. Now, canvas is going to be the main shell, and then the frame is going to be on top of the canvas, and then the scroll is going to be on everything is going to be on top of that of the canvas. But the scroll, we know what scroll is for, is to scroll the screen. This video, we're going to mainly focus on that of the Y scroll. No, Y is more like this, and your X is more like how normal graph is. We're going to make use of the Y scroll, so we can be able to scroll down. They see X scroll, but we're going to focus on that of the Y scroll in this video. So the first thing we're going to do, since when we imported Tkinter, we imported everything that you need. So what we're basically going to do, we need to just call the canvas. We don't need to do this in again. We don't need to deliberately import it again. So how we can do this capital letter canvas, but I'm to store it in a variable, a small canvas. Let me just delete canvas. Yeah, this is the capital letter canvas. This is the main guy that we need. And the first argument that is going to take is that of our the name we use to initialize our application, which is main. And then the next we are going to do is to create our scrollbar, because we need to create this scrollbar. And this scrollbar, we're going to connect it to this of our canvas. So I can say scrollbar. Here it's going to be capital letter S scrollbar. So I don't need to type it again. This guy already provided integrity. So the first thing that this scrollbar is going to take is that of our main too. I'm going to take our main. So this main is just talking about the variable we used to initialize of our application, which was on top of here, which was this guy here. So since we've inputted main, so the next one we need to add also is to connect it to this of our canvas. We do that, we can say command. This was command, and what is going to be is that of the canvas that we created, the canvas variable canvas. The small member is this small letter C, the variable we created, and we are going to set it to Y view. They have that of X view, but like I said, we're interested in the Y view, to be in Y view. So the next thing we are going to do, when we run this initially, we are not going to seriously see more different. But when we want to do in this way, because later on I want to add background color to it, so we can see how the layer is being layered on top of each other. So second thing I want us to do is to create our frame. This frame is the main guide that's going to be on this of our canvas layer. So this frame is where we're going to display our text. It's just like seeing something, a small guide inside of a big I don't even know how this explanation makes sense, but don't think of it as it's layered on top of this of our canvas. The canvas is like the main layer, and it's just like the foundation. This frame is just like the small house that's built on top of the foundation. I just hope it makes sense, but you get the idea. So I'm going to say frame. This frame, instead of it taking this our main again, since what is going to take now is this of our canvas, because this canvas now acts as the main environment. So I'm going to say here canvas. Remember the small letter C, and then after that we can also add other parameter, but let's just deal with this canvas. I don't want it to make it more complex the way it's already is. We have created a scrollable environment as of now, which is the canvas is the main guy. Scrollbar is the guy that is going to help us to scroll, and this frame here is going to be like another environment inside of this of our canvas. So we're done with this part. So the next part we are going to do is to actually configure our canvas in the screen, because we don't configure it. I wonder what I even do. So the first one we're going to do is to what canvas. Remember the small letter, make use of the variable dot what configure. I can say config. I'm going to set the Y because I'm interested in the Y scroll, so I can come here and say Y what scroll command. Thanks for my VS Code is able to help me with some of all these display of it, because I can't tend to remember some of them. So I'm going to make that of our. I'm going to make use of this of our scroll bar. I'm going to make use of a bar that I want to write, which is scroll bar. which is this scroll. But I want to make use of a method inside of it to take the command, which is our y command. We have the x scroll command, but we're interested in y scroll command. And the method is the what? The set. This is going to listen to all command. Anytime we scroll our canvas, we're trying to tell this scroll guy to actually scroll down for us. So the next thing we want to do is to what? Actually create our window. You can see since here, yes, we are going to say canvas dot create. We're going to what? Create our window. Sorry, have I done? Underscore window. We're going to create our window. So the next we are going to say, we know that our window start from mainly start from the top left hand corner. I think as you can maybe somewhere around there, this VS code icon is 00, and there is as extending the X extending and the Y extend when it goes down. So we're going to set it to start from that of 0, 0. And the next we are going to set is actually to set our frame. We want to set our sorry, we want to set our window. What do we want our window to be like? When I mean our window, I mean what do we want our we are going to write our other things on it. Where do we want it to be? I want to set our window to be to that of, because we know that every text we are going to write is going to be inside of this frame. So if I want to add labels button to be inside of this frame, so we want it to be our window. So after that, the next thing we will actually add is our anchor. We have the anchor. So we're going to set it n dot anchor. Why I set it to NW because I want it to actually be in this particular position, top left hand corner. I just want it to start there. You might not want to set it, but setting it, I think, is a better idea. So then is going to be the guy that is going to handle everything that maybe test that has been happening on our screen. Maybe we put a test on it. The frame is guy is going to be the one to handle it. So what we can do is to build it on the screen, whereby we can check whether if anything happened, if there's any changes in our screen, we want to perform something. So let me just write it. And here I'm going to give it configure. I've talked about this configure. Make sure to do it. Do a tutorial on this configure, which was in my previous video, so we're able to understand it in this video. So this is going to check whether if there's any event any changes in event on our current environment. So on our current application, so we're going to make use of Lambda. This Lambda is just trying to, in case if there's anything that happens, want to perform something. So this Lambda, I just give it, let's just give it E. This is just a variable name. You can change it to anything of your choice. So we're going to make use of this canvas that we created, because this canvas is in application. So we're going to say canvas dot what, which is our config, and inside the config, so we need to make actually a scroll region. We need to set this scroll region. So okay, let me just do it. So let's see what I'm doing. Scroll region, we need to set it to be our canvas dot what, dot b box. Some of all these guys that are just quite hard to remember. So here is going to be set to, so this guy is going to be configure, but it's not hard for us to understand. What we actually did here, in a case whereby this guy captures every event that got changed, and this b canvas the box guy is going to get the full size of everything inside of our Tkinter, and this scroll region is going to make sure that when you are scrolling, you get to see everything. Because if we don't set this scroll region, you might scroll to a particular point, and then there's other ones remaining, but to just vanish. So there are not, if this is really get confusing you to understand, just copy it and use it. Most times always being written like this, unless in a situation whereby you don't want to get all, but most times we want to actually get the or every footing that inside of our canvas and other parameter, I think partial and other things that we won't get free. But most times always being written like this. Can change other parameters of it. You are getting it configured. But just know that we're trying to configure our canvas environment. Now our main canvas environment that is going to hold this up our frame. Frame is what for everything that we're going to write, maybe test, add our test and label. And this code just going to make sure that we get all the tests that we wrote on our frame to be able to be visible on that of our canvas environment, and this just tend to get everything on our sizable everything on our canvas. So the next thing we are going to do is actually push our canvas to the screen So we are going to say what canvas dot what pack make pack. Inside of this pack, we want to move it to the left side. So we want to say can move it to the right. So I'm interested in that of the left. So I'm interested in that of the left. I also want to add something else which feel boot. And then another thing I want to add is what expand. I want to add expand to be True, because like this, in most cases, you need to fill all these guys, unless in a situation whereby you don't want it to expand or you don't want to fill the boot another side left. There's not really more to grab on this. So we also want to move our scroll bar to the screen. So we can say our scroll bar. Remember, these guys are just the variable. And since we have actually initialized them here, so we can say our scroll bar would to what also pack them on the screen. I'll know that most time the scroll bar is always by the right hand side. Putting your scroll bar, no one remember something that I just drag down that keep on screen. Putting it on like this guy that is this scroll bar that is most times always on the right hand side. So trying to move it to the left hand side is your choice. So sorry, right down I can say side is equals to going to be right. So and then the next thing I want us to add is actually fill it with fill. I'm going to fill it with our white. You can fill it with both, but I'm interested in this of our white. So with this, we have actually done everything we need to do. So let's just run this. You can see I get kind of a scroll bar here, but as of now, it's not really visible much. What I need to do is to add some text on the screen because as I can see here, there's no text on the screen, so there's nothing to actually scroll here. So what I can do is to, let me drop down so you can see what is actually happening. So what I can do here is to add some text. I can then try to add some text. And when I'm writing some text, so you see this, our text is going to be inside this of our frame because our frame is inside this of our canvas. So I can try to say, so let me try to, I can create a variable that I can say label other things. Okay, let me just do an example. I can say label is going to be our big label, that of our, okay, let me do me right, creating this variable. I can just say label. Since we have to I want our label to be inside of this frame instead of our main, like how I've been doing before. So let me just use, I can say frame side of this frame. So what else don't on it? I want to say hello. So I think that is it. So I can say the pack. So let me run this. You can still get a test here, but since it's not still much, we're not able to scroll. So I can try to create a for loop. I can say for health range. I want to say range something like 20. So we do it to make sense. So here instead of this, I can make an else string here. Instead of this, I can say hello. X is going to be hello 0, hello 1, hello 2, hello 3. So let me run this. You can see I get this kind of, why is my this is not scrolling? Hello 19. Okay, let me make it to 50. Let me run it again. It's still not scrolling. What is the problem? See, what's my this is not working? What is the problem? Yeah, okay. Let me go back again. I extended it to 50, so everything should be showing. Okay, canvas dot configure. So this is supposed to be configure, not configure. So let's run it again. It's still not showing. So there's a program from. Should be on top of it. Title geometry configure. The geometry is supposed to be here because of this configure that we have set down here already. If we set the geometry, is going to try to be in a particular position to be able to be resizable. Now, still sure want it to be able to be resized because if something can able to change, we can able to recognize it. Okay, I can see our this is now pretty working well here. You can see our scroll bar. I can see our frame. You can see this is what this text that I wrote here was actually on our main application, which is that of root main we used to initialize our application. So for us to actually see how these things work, I try to set this of our canvas. I can say the back to be what blue. So actually it works, and then this of our frame. We can set the background which is BG. I can set the background to be something like maybe let's say yellow. I think that should be, and then we can set our text background. See, I can set the background to be something like red, just a random color I just picked. So we can actually see how all this is a bit layered on top. As you can see here, let me extend this a little bit. As you can see here, this is our main canvas that this what is it called? This frame is being wrapped on top of it. You can see it showing something like yellow at the back, which that was the color we gave our frame, showing yellow at the back, and then the text had the background color of red. You can see how this actually what we can scroll to see the last element or the last item, which here in our case was that's 49. Even though the color is making it hard for us to see, starting one was 0. You can see that we can actually create another text on our other elements on our main application. And then you can see that the frame act as another application on its own, that not application, another section on its own inside of our main application that we can actually interact with and do other things. So I think this should be it for this video. If you enjoy, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also like and subscribe. I'll be able to see in the next video. Thank you for watching.